Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we have an exciting topic to discuss and that has been making waves in the investment world for some time. Nanodimension, ticker symbol NNDM. And in this video we will dive into a comprehensive analysis of NNDM, explore its background, the recent performance, the future prospects, and key factors to consider before investing. Before the video begins, if you would like to see more stock analysis videos like this one, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out the affiliate links down in the description if you would like to support my channel with no extra cost for you when using those services. So with all that being said, let's jump right into it. As the market remains very volatile at the moment, we should always be mindful of which positions to pick, as well as their individual timing for entry and exits. Recently, one of the merger targets of Nanodimension, Stratasys, has rejected the proposal of Nanodimension to buy their shares because they believe that the offer of Nanodimension significantly undervalues their inherent worth. As a response to this news, the market has responded somewhat positively to the share price of Nanodimension. So, this may suggest that the market doesn't see very favorably the deal to begin with. And also, when we look at the financial statements of Nanodimensions, we can see that many of the investments that NNDM initially bought, how can I put this? Their value kind of dwindled over time. Probably not because their inherent value changed, but more because the market conditions are as such. So, it's possible to see that Nanodimension is entering into a new phase where people will move from just trading to investing in the company and anticipating that it's going to break even in a couple of years, despite the fact that Nanodimension could survive this difficult period. And by surviving, I mean maybe selling more of their own equities in order to sustain their ongoing operations in the expectation that in the meantime they can make enough money to balance the books. So in the long term, the price has been stabilizing around the $2.40 level for a significant period of time, apart from the recent dip down to the $2.20 level, of course. Overall, considering how bearish the market has been over the past year or so, or actually over the past 18 months, keeping the price around a stable base is quite a feat just by itself. Now, let's also take a look at the technicals of the stock. The trading volume of Nanodimension has recently been around 2.8 million shares versus the average volume of 2.3 million shares. Over the previous 52-week period, the price fluctuated between $2.06 and $3.74. The volume of shares traded tells us how many shares are being bought and sold at any given point, and if there's enough liquidity to support a strategy. If the float is very thin, it would be very easy to influence the stock price, but low liquidity could also mean that the demand is limited as well. When we compare the current volume against the average volume, there might be the possibility for a trend reversal or breakthrough if the difference between the two are very large. For instance, if the stock were to break through, the current volume would be significantly higher than the average volume. The market cap of Nanodimension is currently around $605 million versus the enterprise value of $321 million. So this means that basically, Nanodimension is trading almost at 100% of premium in the market, which is kind of understandable given the hype around the company and also the fact that the market is kind of sort of looking for a positive narrative in this sea of bearishness. When we compare the current price to the historical price fluctuations, the stock is 12% above its 1-month low, 12% higher than the 3-month low, and 12% higher than the 52-week low. In the options market, which often gives us a hint on the market sentiment about where the stock price will likely go next, the implied volatility is currently around 109% versus the historical volatility of 34%. The put-call volume ratio is currently at 0.49, and keep in mind that it's normal for many stocks to have a higher put option volume than what they deserve, because many institutional investors hedge their long positions by buying put options. The most recent volume of options traded has been 6,260 contracts within a day, compared to the 30-day average volume of 1531. In terms of open interest, the most recent volume of open interest is around 118,000 contracts versus the 30-day average of 125,000 contracts. So, in terms of the shareholder structure, institutional shareholders own about 35% of the outstanding shares. The biggest shareholders include ARK, State Street, and BlackRock. Usually, it is best to see some institutional participation in the stock in the long run. And in this case, I think that there's enough institutional participation for me to say that we can invest and not just trade Nanodimension. The current short interest is around 7% of the total float, 42% of which coming out of the dark pools. So, with this being said, I don't think that there is much of a case for short squeeze for Nanodimension, just because if the stock is low, and keep in mind it's been holding its ground for the past 6 months, right? So, if the stock price is low, it's probably just because of fundamental reasons and also the economic cycles. I don't think that this is because somebody is shorting or a large scale, like a whole bunch of people are shorting Nanodimension. Nanodimension is a company that is specialized in intelligent machines to help upgrading the efficiency of manufacturing processes. They are one of the early adapters and participants in what we refer as the fourth industrial revolution. The manufacturing landscape has been undergoing major transformation, and this revolution is no exception. It is driven by advanced technologies that are reshaping the ways goods and products are being produced. It builds upon the progress of previous revolution waves, as the first one brought mechanization with steam, the second one used electricity, the third one introduced automation and computerization, and now the fourth one integrates cutting-edge technologies to redefine the entire process. One crucial technology in this case would be the Internet of Things, connecting machines, sensors, adapters, and products through the Internet. This connectivity allows real-time connections and data sharing, enabling better control and decision-making. Another essential technology is the big data and analytics. Industry 4.0 leverages vast amounts of data, collecting them, analyzing them, and in order to transform them into information. This information then provides valuable insights, enabling manufacturers to make data-driven decisions for process improvements, quality control, and predictive maintenance. Artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies are also integral parts of Industry 4.0. AI-powered systems learn from data and perform tasks that typically require human input. In the manufacturing industry, AI and ML enhance productivity, quality, and safety by automating the repetitive tasks, which optimize the workflow and detect anomalies faster. Additive manufacturing, commonly known as 3D printing, is yet another key technology used by Nanodimension. So, this would allow for the creation of three-dimensional objects by adding layers of materials. This technology offers benefits like customization, rapid prototyping, and reduced waste in the production process. Robotics and automation play a crucial role in Industry 4.0. Robots and automation systems perform complex tasks with precision, speed, and consistency. This leads to increased productivity, reduced errors, and also improved safety in the manufacturing environments. Nanodimension is an early participant in additively manufactured electronics, also called AME. The company aims to transform the way manufacturing works, not just in terms of the facility size, but also in the variety of products these platforms manufacture. Nanodimension is known for undergoing a series of strategic acquisitions, which integrate many other advanced platforms in its own. Nanodimension positions itself in the manufacturing world in such a way so that its platforms are sold to other fellow manufacturers. They are partially insulated against the direct fluctuations of consumer good demands, since their platforms can be used to produce many kinds of goods. These platforms also allow their clients to increase their possibilities both in terms of scale and quality of the goods. In terms of the financials, Nanodimension saw its activities increasing significantly between 2021 and 2022. The revenues totaled more than $43 million, increasing by at least 215% over the course of the last year. But more importantly, the gross profit of the company totals $14 million in 2022, which is very significant. The gross profit is a testament that the business model of Nanodimension will eventually work if only we give it enough time to grow in scale. The research and development cost of Nanodimension increased significantly as well. And this is a very encouraging sign for me personally, because this means that a company relies on its technologies in order to compete in this undeveloped landscape of Industry 4.0. In a way, I don't necessarily consider this cost as a regular expense, but very much as an investment for its own future. Regarding the operating costs, they have increased somewhat compared to 2021, but not as much as its revenue increase. This is why I think that Nanodimension can eventually improve its finances thanks to its own operational cash inflows. This is not the case just yet, but I think that we are looking at something of the sort in the near future. Lots of the cash outflows are also the results of the purchases Nanodimension accumulated over the years, with their individual values fluctuating in the eyes of the open market as the economy enters into a different paradigm. I think that we gotta be mindful that Nanodimension is a company aiming to grow for the foreseeable future and has no plans in increasing its own capacities just yet. In that sense, things are progressing according to plans. The company also mentioned that they will have enough resources to maintain their ongoing operations at least over the next 12 months. So for the time being, things are definitely under control. Another factor to consider when deciding if you should be buying Nanodimension shares or not is the overall capital environment. The stock market acts as a representation of actualized future expectations. To that end, the market is an imperfect tool reflecting not just our rational assumptions, but also our own greed and fear the market is capturing. So, this measure can be represented in the amount of capital currently participating in the equities market. And to a large extent, it influences the stock price of many titles in the open exchanges, but especially the startups. When the interest rates are very low, capital is forced to take on additional risks by seeking profits outside of their safer options, thus pushing up the asset price in the equities in a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the era of quantitative easing could be behind us for good, or at least for the time being. But the habit of the market after 15 years of bullishness may take some time to readjust to the new reality, while waiting for the big price correction to finally happen. This phenomenon is partially neutralized by the fact that a lot of capital is flowing to the American market in seeking for safe haven in uncertain times, and this will probably delay the much needed corrections. This is why I believe that the stock market acts very erratically and it's going to remain so over the next 6 months, with major swings, ups and downs, but especially down. As a reaction, of course, to the low growth and the high inflation economic environment the world will likely face beyond the short term crises. So, my recommendation is to buy Nanodimension now and to increase your exposure in the stock for the month to come, up to your pre allocated amount. The mentality we would go in is the one for investment and not just trading, as the short term potentials are not as significant compared to the long term benefit if nanodimension manages to increase their scale of production. I would recommend to commit between 1 and 3% of your portfolio's capital, and would also recommend to split the allocation over the next couple of months so that you can purchase more in case of further retracements.